Thanks for staying with us. You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The Lagos State government has come under some criticism recently for carrying out demolitions and closure of some areas in various parts of the state. The move by the state government to close some markets are due to illegal construction of shops and stalls, are aiding indiscriminate dumping of refuse and blocking drainages. But the initial closure of Alaba International Market raised a lot of concerns, as some called the move politically motivated. Reacting to this, the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, clarified that the closure of the market was over poor waste disposal practices and other environmental infractions. Joining us now on the morning show to discuss the ongoing sweep of illegal structures and what the state government is doing to improve the environmental standards in the state is Tokunbo Wahab himself, the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources. Good morning. TW, you are called, I know that, so good morning.
Good morning,
Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning, Shaita.
Good to have you on the morning show.
Yes. Good to be here.
A lot of people will be wondering, oh, they have the Demolition Man on the show. Is that the way that you're perceived now, given the quantum of reforms that you're doing, but which, fortunately or unfortunately, involves demolishing a lot of illegal structures? So, are you the Demolition Man? No. And why is this the focus of the Ministry of Environment at this time? People might think that shouldn't it have been the physical planning man doing this? Why the Environment Commissioner?
Thank you very much, Steve. For me, I'm just abating the nuisances on my water canal pathway. No, that's what the law provides for.
Okay.
Lagos State Environmental Management Service Law, 2017. If you block my canal or my secondary collector, the law empowers me to remove the nuisance.
Really?
If it's a house, if it's a shanty, if it's a vehicle, I do have the powers, after serving you notices, to abate the nuisance, and that's what I've been doing. Now, you see, it's about showing leadership.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be a popularity contest. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be you doing what is right and seeing to it that people do what is right. We didn't just come about removing these nuisances. People over the years are choosing to be very brazen. And you see some of the things they do, you cringe, and you ask yourself, how would a reasonable person, that's the operative word here, go this route to block, for instance, a channel that is collectively serving public good?
Yeah. This
takes me to a story at VGC. VGC is one of the most planned areas in Lagos. It's been there for years, elitist, reserved, gated. 15 years ago or thereabouts, 3 houses chose to go on the trajectory of, I want to extend my wall.
Okay.
And in so doing, they chose to block a collective canal that takes the water from VGC to the lagoon behind. And for 15 years, it's been there, unabated. So we got a petition from them. Right. When we got the petition, oh, by the way, this is a quarter. Look at the canal, look at the canal, look at the way they made it a primary collector or thereabout. Mm-hmm. No, they made it a secondary collector from 8 meters to like 1 meter.
Wow.
That is gross indiscipline, and they built on it. No, so to VGC, as I was saying. So we went there, and we saw what had caused the flooding of VGC through the years.
Yeah.
And we agreed that we can remove this nuisance right here and now. And we called for the excavator on Friday. And by Sunday, we opened up VGC by removing those nuisances, 1, 2, 3, and then the water moved to the lagoon.
Really? Wow.
Freely.
So now, when you say these people chose to extend their land, is the fault solely on those people who would, choose to extend their land to that type of channel that it would block the area? Isn't it irresponsible to approve a building so close to a canal, or whether or not they're extending their land or blocking the channel? Whose responsibility is it to make sure that those buildings are not erected anywhere close to the canal in that fashion?
Interestingly, that should be the responsibility of Fiscal Planning Ministry.
Yes.
However, what we found out is most of them have a way of flying approvals. What do I mean by saying that? I want to build an estate. This is a landmass, maybe 10 or maybe 10 plots. Then I'll come for approval for 1 or 2. Then I'll use that to extend my building construction. What happened at Ikota is so unfortunate. There was a conversation pre-COVID. And if you go back to the video you showed, the conversation showed how green the area was. They had the conversation, then COVID happened. Government, everybody had to scamper for safety. So between COVID and 4 weeks ago, there were notices served on them. You can't do this. But by the time we got there, 12 houses petitioned the governor that we are getting flooded on a daily basis. 12 villages rather, 12 that were relocated from Morocco, Gede and others. We got there, all the civil service structure, and we asked ourselves, how could people do this? How did we get to this point? These were their notices. But the typical bad behavior and brazen attitude of, I can do it, nobody can question me, and I can always get away with it.
Are you saying there were no approvals?
If there were approvals, Ojunika, you will have seen that on social media.
There were no approvals
if
for
there were
those
approvals, we started
buildings.
Demolition. We paused for about 9 days. We paused to review and see the part of the canal. And I'll tell you what we're doing. There's also a human face to this exercise. When we started, what we did was those that blocked outrightly, that closed the canal from 8 to 1 meter, we said, let us open this canal up. So in the course of doing that, this is what I'm talking about. So these houses, we had to remove them to create the path and the setback for the canal. It was unfortunate, but you have to do what is right. So upon doing...
All these houses will go down?
They had gone down already.
Can I come in here and, just to reiterate what my colleague Oji has spoken about, it almost seems as if the blame is just being left at the foot of, those that have built these houses. And I understand that. But on the end of these approvals, are there people within, these agencies that are to their personal benefits, maybe allowing these approvals go, and are there going to be any consequences for those people? And secondly, given the concerns raised about political motivations behind these closures, can you maybe outline the transparent criteria and processes employed by the state government in identifying areas for demolition and closure? How is the government ensuring fairness and impartiality in these actions? So it doesn't seem like it's politically motivated.
So let me start with the first question, then I'll go to the issue of the closure and the processes. Now, for those, I have said to everybody, if you know you have government papers, please step forward. The governor, the deputy governor, and the House of Assembly, do a petition to them. Attach your approval. Attach the requisite demand notices given to you, and then the receipt of payment. This is a process. And then they will call up the file. Whoever had done that, if it was done properly, if it was done the other way around, then let the system take care of the person. There's always a system, and last Steve was in public service. There's a PMB. Yeah. I can't oversee a PMB. I'm a political appointee, but there's a PMB for civil servants. And if it was a political appointee, then the man that appointed, the governor, will have to make a decision to fire you.
I just want some clarity.
Now, on the issue of the closure,
yes.
Let me just not my chain of thought. Now, for the closure, we don't just close it. There are notices that must be served. And for those that are saying it was politically motivated, I laugh. I don't see your ethnicity, I don't see your religion, I see the law, I see infraction. And for me, I want to enforce and regularize whatever is wrong. Correct it. It doesn't have to be popular to do that. Now, if they're telling me it's ethnically motivated and politically this, what happened to Igbo market? We shut Igbo market for about 10 days. How about Mile 12 with perishable goods? After serving notices, they failed to comply. They were shut down. How about Alaya Biagba market at Ajegunle? Oh, how about the one at Ilepo or Tejosho or even Alade market? So, and I've made it clear, we can't make super traders of people that are in perpetual breach of the laws. And we served Alaba and we served Aspanda the notices to abate within 48 hours. They never did. It was the 72nd hour that we choose to enforce. And we did the right thing. Now, if you allow them to do this dog whistle,
Yeah.
we're going to kill this system. And we have to make our choices. The environment is the master of man. Man is not the master of the environment. Global warming is real. We have to take responsibility for our own actions. Are there issues to be fixed? Yes. But how are we relating to the environment as a people? This was at, the one you just showed was the slide at Tokunbo.
Yeah.
That was nature taking its course. We went there, and as we speak, we're fixing it. A line, one of the lanes was, okay, look at it, this is erosion, chopping it off. And it's been fixed. We understand.
This is
Ikotu, around this church, synagogue. Yes, we are fixing this at Ikotu by the market. So we are also taking responsibility for whatever we have to do as a government. But as a people, taxpayers are deploying funds to be used by government. Let us do the right thing without caring whose ox will be God.
I just want some clarity here.
Yes.
I don't know, should I call you Demolition Man now?
Just come to
Demolition Man. Are you saying all of those demolition that was conducted about 2 weeks ago in Lekki, Ikota, those buildings had no approvals? Is that what you're saying?
Janika, if they have approvals, let them bring it forward.
Okay, so
I'll also tell you what happened.
Yeah.
After we had gone in and we had removed the nuisances, I remember the Fiscal Planning Commissioner went there to serve them notices to bring out their approvals.
And how long did that take before
That's
the
been on
demolition?
no, that has been on now.
No, how long did that take before the demolition occurred? So they served them notices.
We served notices.
Yes, they served.
We served
the
notices. Yes.
So how long did you give them to respond?
Over 7 days, over 14 days.
Just 1 week?
No. The first one was served in 2020.
Okay.
And we served again and again. There are videos to that effect. There are proof to that effect.
Yes.
Ojinika, let me tell you the mindset of most of these people. Government will forget. Government will not come back here.
How is there okay, two things quickly, Tokunbo. Is there a likelihood of litigation following all this? I know that you had mentioned something, or it was mentioned on your behalf that there have been some threats, to your person, to your life, and stuff like that. Could there be litigation, one? And then to cue behind what OG has been trying to say, if it turns out that there are some approvals for some of these properties that have been, demolished, is it possible for government to say that the approvals were issued in error?
Now, to start with, OG is elementary law. Illegality can never vest legality on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. If the foundation of whatever you've obtained from government is void, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't remedy it. What we've done is, even if you tell me you want to build, there are standard rules. There must be a drainage certificate, a drainage clearance from the Ministry of Environment. I'll tell you, give me my drainage clearance. Let me say it. If you give me a drainage clearance, I'll look at my setback. Now, that's where the human face comes in. If it's a secondary collector and I'm meant to take 3 meters, I can say, you know what, 2 meters is fine by me. I will deploy a smaller boogie to clean up my drainage system. But when you don't have that, and you choose to block and narrow down the canal part, we can't fold our hands for the sake of public good because we want to look at you as an individual, as a big man. So for me, it's about doing what is right. And what is right doesn't have to be popular. Don't let us forget. It's right in this climb. This is a climb where people are very brazen and they don't believe that they must do the right thing. Now, because we are trying to enforce, to clean up our markets, as a first contact for whatever we eat, to avoid the outbreak of cholera or something of that nature, that will have a domino effect, by the way, on our health system. They're trying to dog whistle us, to make us withdraw. No, but it won't work. Have I been threatened? Oh, yes. There's a building here, one orange building, owned by a serving local government chairman. And it was marked way before I became a commissioner.
Is he an APC member?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It was marked. However, being a sitting chairman, he chose to tell them to divert the drainage. And if you slide back on that video, there is a young man that was wearing a Manchester United jersey. Never met him before. He came to Alaba, never met me a day before. And I saw him. Why are you looking for? I was walking out late. He said, he wants to meet me. What was the issue? That they marked his house. But 3 years before, pre-COVID, his house was on drainage parts. What could have changed? So don't worry yourself. We'll come there. Each house is on this map. We'll see it together. We'll decide and there. And we went there. We found that the young man was right. The other chairman...
The house was marked in error?
No. It was marked because they diverted the canal.
Oh.
The chairman's house actually was on the canal. And the Lord took his course. And he had gone threatening hell, fire. But it's okay.
When we speak
it will calm down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of these videos, and outside of the, the closures and demolitions, what I'm also noticing is improper waste, disposal, which is contributing to it. Could you share, any initiatives that your organization is looking to implement in sense of educating the public about proper waste disposal practices, the importance of maintaining environmental standards, and is there anything that the state government is doing to balance urban development and environmental preservation, especially in densely populated areas? Because that is one of our biggest issues in Lagos, the number of people. Let's talk long-term strategies being devised to sustainably manage the state's growth. I mean, I see you wearing this is Lagos. So,
this is Lagos.
Yes, Ekolele. So,
Now, thank you, Sheito. Loma is doing so much, but Loma will still have to do so much more. And so much more is being done now in terms of advocacy and enforcement. In the past 2 weeks, we've prosecuted and convicted over 60 people for this infraction.
On waste disposal.
On waste disposal. People wake up in the morning around 4, 5 a.m., take their waste, go drop. And we've done that. We're doing it and we're going to ramp up that enforcement. But that is not enough. We have now to start doing this advocacy for a kind of ethical orientation.
Yeah.
That this canal, this drainage are not meant for your waste. These places are meant for water. Your waste will be taken by Loma. Now, we are trying to integrate our workings with that of Ministry of Fiscal Planning also.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we can work in silos. Not just fiscal planning, even waterfront. People go ahead, tell you they want to reclaim and dredge wetland. You don't reclaim and dredge wetland ordinarily. Wetland are meant to collect water when it rains heavily. And when everything has subsided, release the water gradually. But these days, what you found out is that people, out of greed, had gone to reclaim or build on wetlands.
Yeah.
And they will not tell you, oh, government, this place is flooding. It will flood. It's a wetland, it's a lowland area. So the orientation has to start, the advocacy has to be ramped up, communicate with them in clear terms so we can avoid any form of ambiguity. Are we there yet? I'll tell you no. This was towards Igomu. This is Eric Moore. This is Surulere. In the heart of Surulere, yeah. Towards the end of Eric Moore. No, we had to evacuate, clean it up. It's now a green area.
What's the general plan for dump sites in Lagos? And what are you doing with Olusosun now?
Olusosun, we have to decommission maybe within the next 24 months. Yes. We have to decommission Olusosun in the next 24 months. Thankfully, we've advanced our conversation with neighboring states.
Okay.
And that's on the long term.
Yeah.
In the intermediate, we're trying to manage what we have in place. We're also trying to get a collaboration with a company that will turn this waste to wealth, waste to power. The conversion is at a very advanced stage. And that for me is the future for what we're doing. We generate about 15 tons every day. Lagos, and to get more, because people come in.
It should be one of the highest in Africa.
It's about the highest in Africa. Olusosun alone takes 5 tons.
Wow.
Then the others bring in their house in pits and pieces.
Right. So your commission closed down Alaba market, improper waste. What exactly is it that they were doing wrong? What is it? What were they doing wrong? And how long is it going to be closed for? And what do they have to do
reopened, isn't it?
to be reopened?
No, we reopened on Friday,
On
Friday evening. Now, Alaba was served a notice to abate the nuisance with respect to waste management. It was a poor sanitary condition. The notice was served on them, I think it was on a Tuesday or thereabout, giving them within 48 hours to abate it and clean it up.
Yeah.
However, they failed to. So by Sunday, we had to close. So Sunday afternoon, we closed Alaba International Trade Fair Market as Panda, and then by midnight, we had to close Alaba. Now, we saw the messaging, we saw the dog whistling that came with it, but we're very resolute because we're fair. Fair the way we treated Oyinbo Market, fair the way we treated Mile 12 Market, fair the way we treated Ayabiagba Market at Ajegunle. It's a level playing field. It's applying the law. And if you now choose to tell me that, why are you going to close Alaba because it's not fair, because I will laugh at you. Political, at this time, we're talking about governance. Politics is over. It's about governance. And in fairness to them, when they realized there was nothing they could do about it, they complied. They complied to the letter. And we opened on Friday. Yes. We opened both on Friday, in fairness to them.
Alaba and Aspanda?
Aspanda, we opened late on Friday.
Okay, great.
Right, so what is your commission doing about Nigeria's floating slum, Makoko, in terms of hygiene? I know it's been a burning issue, and you know, you are new in the commission now. Are you going to adopt that as a project?
Now, I know my principal and his deputy are going to visit that area in the next few days or weeks. It's something we have to find a way to manage for them. Slums are all over the world. Go to Philly, go to California, go to New York. However, it's how the government intervenes to manage the process. People are usually attached to those areas. And if you tell them you want to renew it, they will push back. And the whole world will start telling you, leave them where they are, provide them this. So in the interim, government is doing the intervention. What we now have to agree on is how sustainable or how deeply rooted are those interventions. Giving them mobile toilets, giving them drinkable water are laudable. But how about the environment itself?
Right.
The environment will remain as a floating city?
For most of them, they can't remain as a floating city. But you must find a proper way to relocate them without displacing them. There are two different things here, but they are interrelated. I can tell you, sit you down, this is my plan for this place. And it's been done all over the world. Areas that governments are seen as low-end areas, they usually buy out to landlords. They will regenerate. They will also have commitments with them to say, you know what, we'll do you flats. We'll put you here when we are done with this. But it's about the mistrust of government globally. That they'll say, no, if you remove us now, we're not sure we're going to have any bite at this cake when it's done. So let us build the trust. Let us go. Let us build the trust. Let us see how we can, in the interim, make it livable for every one of them. I know UNDP wants to visit with us sometime in November. Let us see what happens with that narrative, and then we'll take it up from there.
So your ideal is to relocate them because it cannot remain a slum.
Make it habitable for them.
Habitable.
Habitable for them. In a way, I can go sit down, eat or sleep there if I'm forced to, if I'm not even forced to. Why can't I? People go, let me give you an example. Downtown Atlanta. All around downtown Atlanta are slums. Big time slums. Junkies around downtown Atlanta. You see them begging for money, cracks and everything. But it's still downtown Atlanta. The big corporates are there. What have they done? They've made it habitable, and they found a way to make them live together. So we can't isolate Makoko.
Yeah.
We can't.
It's very important. I mean,
We can't.
especially the idea of hygiene. People are dying in Makoko.
People are dying.
I don't have that
People are dying all over the
100%
world.
data.
People are
yes,
dying all over
yes,
the world.
but you are the commissioner
But we need to now
for
situate it
environment
in a
and water
context.
resources, and you're the only one I can talk to
I know.
about this this particular burning issue in Lagos. So,
it's something, I agree with you.
Yeah.
We have to do more for them. We have to give them a drinkable water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the key stuff we want to work on this next few years is get our water works working. Yeah. And I'm glad we have a young man as the MD of Legacy Water Corporation now.
Great.
And we've done the roadmap together, Engineer Mukhtar Tijani. And the roadmap is we must get water to our homes. The idea of having borehole in each and every home is not ideal, it's not sustainable.
Right.
And we are working towards that. Once the roadmap is fully ready, we'll put it out into the public domain and we implement.
All right, Tokunbo, on Makoko, I recommend a film to you. It's a documentary film by Femi Odugbemi. It's titled Makoko, A City Afloat. There are some nuggets there that will be useful to you to try and watch it. But before we let you go, what a lot of people are talking about is, yes, the reforms are necessary. Illegalities cannot endure. However, people are complaining that it looks like you're rushing so many things at the same time and that human face is required. I'd like you to address that and tie it to the aspect of street trading that you're also dealing with. When you say that Lagos does not want street traders, are we talking everywhere or restricted areas like we have done for the Okadas?
Okay, let me start with the first one. Are we rushing everything now to enforce? I'll tell you, no, we're just doing the right thing. It may seem as though we're putting everything to the front burner.
Yeah.
Steve, you are Yoruba. So let me give this parable in Yoruba. Agbara Ojo, that's the erosion. Kolongo Nilewo. Not tell you that it's not going to come for your house. It's the owner of the house that will push back and devise a means to divert the erosion from pulling down his own building.
Not to allow it, yeah.
That's the situation we met on ground in Lagos. If you have been around Lagos in the past 12, 18 months, you will not be happy with the state of Lagos. And we have to go head on to address it.
Yeah.
And I believe we are creating institutions that will sustain the enforcement. We are ramping up guys' capacity. And then we internally are saying to ourselves, we have to ramp up advocacy and communication as we move towards this. And that's where the human face also comes in. We sit down with some of them, we tell them, for instance, those nightclubs that are disturbing their neighbors.
Yeah, noise pollution, right?
I will tell you, it's not fair. People are going to work on a Monday morning and you'll be blaring your music next door to them. Where is that neighborliness? Why am I not my brother's keeper? Why am I being reckless and insensitive? But people have always done that and do it brazenly. Now, the last question is about
street trading.
Street trading is not ideal for a mega city. Local governments, in fairness, are providing them with stores. We're trying to move them to those stores. Even for their own safety, Steve.
Yeah.
For their own safety. How would you wake up and you take half of the road as a market? As a market. Look at the optics. Look beyond the optics. Look at the safety.
Yeah.
And let them move to those stores created by local governments. On the last note, Steve, let me also say this. Nobody's happy to pull down people's buildings.
Yeah.
Nobody. I'm not happy.
Okay.
But the but is, when people are badly behaved, and they are entrenched in bad behavior, you need to let them know there's a time where you say enough is enough. Lagos, this is Eko, this is Lagos.
Yeah.
Lagos will not tolerate bad behavior.
Yeah.
Let us take care of our environment. Ordinarily, without even taking care of the environment, global warming is real.
Yes.
So let us be conscious of what we're doing with the environment. Or else, if New York, with all the super infrastructure, is flooding, UK is flooding, Asia and those top countries in Europe,
That's true.
then imagine what will happen to a third world developing country with minimal infrastructure.
Let me squeeze a quick one in. Part of what we saw 5, 6, 7 years ago was that up to 70% of the street traders in Lagos came from a particular state in the southeast. I don't know if that you are still dealing with that challenge.
We've seen it, and that's why we said we are not going to apply the law based on creed, based on religion, based on tribe, based on ethnicity. We're going to apply the law which to be applied without fear or favor.
Well, all right.
Fantastic.
On that note, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, not the demolition man. Would like to thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you for
us.
having me, Steve. Thank you, Angelica.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you indeed.